I need a new producer. What's up, nerds? Welcome to Chapter 3, Season 2 of the Unvaulted Podcast. I am your host, Squatingdog, but recently I'm only acknowledging anyone who calls me Master Squatingdog here on out. Mostly because I have one, but I don't really know how to use it for the podcast. Anyways, we have an absolute legend on today's podcast. We are talking about millions of followers. He shouted me out on Twitter once, and it completely broke my stream. A man shrouded in mystery, king of leakers, the one and only Hypex. Welcome.
Yo, what's up?
Welcome, bro. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, and there's PM.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me, PM.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, PM's here. But, dude, thank you so much for being on the podcast. How you feeling about being on it? Have you ever been on a podcast before?
Actually, I've never been in a podcast before. It's a bit stressful, but I'm gonna try my best.
Yeah. Okay. And that's totally cool. Like, I feel like for context, those that are listening, being on a podcast, and when somebody invites you to be on a podcast, you're like, yeah, sure. And then it becomes the time to be on the podcast. And it's like, you're super nervous. You're like sweating in places you didn't think you would sweat before. So Thank you for saying yes and pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone.
Anytime.
Well, I think to get started, we need to catch up our listeners on who you are. And so my hope is that you could tell us a little bit about why you came up with your name Hypex and what is your origin story.
So first of all, I don't actually remember how I made up the name Hypex, except for the fact that I had hype in my name, only hype. But then I realized that so many companies have the same word, and the word is like very common. So I just added the X at the end, and I don't know why or how. I just added the X at the end, and it worked. And
good.
My actual name is Adib. It's Adib.
Adam.
And no, it's Adib, like that.
Adib.
Deeb.
Adib?
Adib.
No, it's Deeb.
Adib.
Yeah.
Adib.
Yep.
As you can tell, really, really don't know how to say any words at all.
And I'm from North Africa, Morocco. And the reason why I started Fortnite content creation is like it's a big coincidence. It's like a domino effect. It all started because I've never paid attention at school. The school here are bad anyway, like the free ones, the public ones. So I would always go to school and just sleep and wait to go outside, go back to home, like then go outside and play football. And that was very exhausting because schools here are like from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then you go back home and then you go back from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
that's wild.
Yep. And it was a tiring process. I had like then go back home and go play football because I was in a team. I wasn't like playing outside, and that was very hard. So and if you want to go to a good school here, you have to pay. And my parents couldn't afford anything. We lived in a small house. It was like 2 rooms and a kitchen and bathroom. That's it. And so I started getting the idea of like dropping out and trying something on my own, like on social media. So I started missing out on school like slowly from late 2016 until 2017. And at the time I was playing a browser game which is the only thing that my PC could run, and I was uploading clips on YouTube. And it was working a little bit. I had like 5K subscribers or 10K, I don't remember. And that's when Fortnite came out. And I had this friend from the same game that I played. He asked me to play the game, to play Fortnite with him, and I didn't like it. Like, believe it or not, I didn't like the game.
Why didn't you like it?
It was like too cartoony and like I don't know. I used to play.
I was in the same position, by the way. Just a quick side note. My friend was playing it, and I walked in watching him, and I was like, "What is this like stupid cartoon-looking game?" And he's like, "Dude, it's so much fun." And I'm like, "What? This thing looks stupid."
Yeah, That's why, because I'm used to playing like football games, soccer, by the way. Used to playing soccer games, and I'm
Like
playing,
FIFA?
and yeah, FIFA and Pro
Mm.
Evolution, and
What
playing like
what
GTA.
was your favorite FIFA? Which one was your favorite FIFA?
I didn't like FIFA. I just played
Oh,
it because my
you
Oh,
friends
didn't.
played.
Oh, okay,
No,
because
no,
yeah, I used
there
to
was another one.
play FIFA 12 through 16, and then I gave up because I was spending too much money on Ultimate Team.
The game was hated in Morocco because it's hard. There was another one
oh,
called there was another one called Pro Evolution.
Yep, I've heard of that.
okay.
Yeah, that one was the most popular in like African Arabian countries. So I played those games and GTA and Bully, if you know it.
Yeah. Hmm.
So switching to Fortnite was seeing Fortnite was different because it was too cartoony. But then a month later, I think in October 2017, they teased the Halloween update.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was October 18. So I made the account on October 18. I still have the email, and I waited until the Halloween update. The Halloween update was like the moment where I fell in love with the game. I have never
What
stopped playing the game since then.
what about the Halloween update made it so endearing to you?
It's like I realized that the game it's gonna have like updates that change the game completely. Because you remember they
Hmm.
changed the loot pool, they changed the lobby,
Yep.
they added like so many new skins, challenges, so many other things. That's when I fell in love with the game, and ever since I've decided to continue playing and doing stuff with the game until I think um February 2018 or like January. That's when one of my friends introduced me to leaking.
Okay. I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
like how do you? I was gonna ask how you stumbled across leaking. Like I don't like, like I don't think that was much of a thing. Like back
Yeah.
then it was kind of like I imagine that meme where the guy poking with like do something. Like I imagine that's what leaking was back then. You just kind of like pulled underneath the skirt of Fortnite and we're like, what's down here? Like, but how do you go from not being a leaker to leaking something?
So it's actually knowing unreleased stuff is a different feeling. Like, to
Yeah.
be honest, it's a different feeling. Like, imagine if you could know what's gonna happen in like real life sports. It's
Okay.
yeah, it's a good feeling. My friend was always showing me unreleased stuff. His name is Battle Dash. I
Okay.
think that's how he pronounce his name. And another dude named Jaren,
Okay.
Garen. Um, that's when I asked him how do you leak, and he explained everything. And I've been like trying to do it like every day since he showed me.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yeah, I know like the leaking community as a whole, for those that are listening, you're like, what is a leaker? Essentially, what Hypex does is he looks at what the difference is between patches. So, like, if a new update comes out, so let's use the Halloween example, right? You have the old
yeah,
game and then you have the new Halloween update. You can compare notes between the two games, the two patches, and go, what are the differences? What are the strings, the files, the things that are different between those two things? And when you find those things, you then feel like you're a gold miner in a mine, where you find a piece of gold and you're like, oh, this is coming, like, or this is gonna happen, or like maybe it's a change to a weapon, or maybe it's a new Fortnite outfit or whatever. And so a lot of people in the Fortnite community do this, and Hypex is probably the biggest of all of them. And so if you don't know anything about leaking, this is what he does. And then how did you decide to continue with this? Like, was the fame a fueling agent for this for you, or was it like just something you just didn't know you were passionate about until you did it? I'm curious for you what it was like.
It's definitely not the same because, like, definitely now because now I don't care about the follower count or anything. Um, it's because the thing is fun. It's addicting. It's like
Mm,
you're gonna wait until next Tuesday to know what's gonna be released, and then you get to tell everyone, and telling everyone and getting those reactions. It's an addiction thing. You know
mm.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So
totally. Totally.
yeah,
It feels
and
like Christmas. Like when I mean every every season I feel like is
yeah,
when stuff starts getting thrown around on the internet. I'm like, it feels like Christmas. Me and
yeah,
PM have talked multiple times of like, this is like really really exciting. Like especially a game that you are passionate about, that you love, and then if you could know something ahead of time, there's just something really special, like you said, about that. And so
yeah,
every 2 weeks, I feel like it's like a kind of an adrenaline rush of like what's going to happen to the game. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'm pretty sure all of my listeners probably follow you for that exact same rush that we're all talking about.
yeah. It's a great feeling, and it started becoming more addicting in the, I think in season 4, season 5, because that's when they started pumping out so many updates. That was like the peak of Fortnite updates. Like there
Yeah.
was something new every week,
Oh, totally.
and yeah, and the map will change completely every season. That's when everything became addicting, like became more addicting, and yeah, I decided this is what I'm gonna do
That's
because
awesome.
yeah, because because when I dropped out of school in 2017, I was 16 back then, and um like it was something, like it was a good thing for me, right? Because
Hmm.
it got me where I am now.
Yeah.
But it was definitely like like a mistake somehow, because
Mm,
I would sit at home all day and waiting for my friends to like come back home so we can play football. And it was something like depressing for a few months, like 6 months, because
mm,
they went to school and I stayed at home. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah.
And Fortnite was my distraction,
Mm,
because even if I went outside during the day, like no one was there. Everyone was at school. There's no
right.
one to play football with or anything. So Fortnite was like my distraction from that thing for many years.
That's interesting. I feel like
Yeah,
one thing that I've noticed about people that are connected online is it's a different type of friendship, but it can produce real friends, like, which is interesting. Like me and
yeah,
PM would have never met if we hadn't like had like met online. Like, and
Yeah.
now we are like building really cool content together. I really appreciate and enjoy him and would consider him as a friend. But I wouldn't have this relationship or friendship with this guy if it
yeah,
wasn't
sure.
for like this online experience, right? Like, and I think like that's kind of a crazy thing that you can be anywhere in the world and connect with somebody, right? And
Yeah.
build an actual genuine friendship. And so I'm curious for you, have you made friends along the way? And we have a massive Fortnite community. What does it look like to you to see the evolution of some of the friendships you might have experienced along these, 3 years?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely made like so many great friends. You, Sheena, Shark Tooth, and PM is my friend now too. And
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
um, there is so many people that I like. I would spend minutes naming them.
Yeah.
There were, yeah, there were also Moroccan friends that I met like in 2015, I think. We're still friends to this day. Like it's 8 years or 7 years, I think. Um, it's the internet is definitely like it's it's a good way of making like friends from different cultures, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not gonna always be like your friends from a neighborhood or anything or school. Like you're gonna get to know like so many other cultures and like how people spend their day, or you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
That's
I
that's the beauty of social media.
Yeah, I have to explain this to my wife constantly when I tell her that I want a boys' night and it means that I'm playing Fortnite as opposed to like actually going to hang out with them, because it's like we all hang out together and play the game at the same time for hours. The pandemic really brought us closer together. I mean,
Yeah.
part of me, and this is going to sound messed up, part of me misses those early pandemic days when no one had anything to do, and it was like the group chat was, hey, what time are you getting on? 10 a.m. Cool, I'll be there. And
Yeah,
like
totally.
there would be so many people that you had to like pick and choose throughout the day. But you mentioned the kind of friendships across the world. We and I probably have mentioned his name before, but there's someone we play with. His name is Shattered. That's his gamer tag. Kelly's his real name. And he's this Alabama, Tennessee father that really talks with the slang and, you know, really kind of brings it out. And we randomly got into a squad game with him because he accidentally did West. And he's just this 56-year-old dad. He's like, yeah, I play with my kid every once in a while. And so I just love this game. And I'm just like, dude, this guy's awesome. We played with him for 4 years now. We know
That's
him.
wild.
We're trying to set up to meet him. I mean, it is like, when I explain that to people, they're like, how is that possible? And I'm like, I don't know. It just happens. Like, it just naturally happens. And when we don't play for a while, it's like, it kind of sucks. And we're like, oh, hey, like we missed you. And yeah, it's amazing that Fortnite's done that.
Yeah, it's baffling to me that like that you it's who you spend your time with, I think, at the end of the day, right? So if you like work at a job and you're surrounded around people that are at your job, you naturally are going to find the people that you like or the people that you don't like and kind of navigate those circumstances. And so the more you are invested in a community, the more you get your name known and the more you recognize others and then kindle friendship. And so, I think it's so cool that you had an opportunity. You know, you might have seen it as like, you know, a depressing time, but in some respects, you are also investing in a different way in a new community, which is really cool. And, probably has led you to where you are now.
Yeah, and dude, I appreciate like everyone who supports me on Twitter. They're everything to me, like second family.
Yeah, you have a huge following on Twitter. It's absolutely insane. Like I said at the your intro, literally, Hypex was like, "Hey, go say hi to Squatting for me on his Twitter," and my stream went from like 100 viewers to like 1,000 in like a second, and so many people were following that I couldn't do anything. My stream actually broke, and I started crying, and it was like a whole thing. But like, it's insane how many people like look to you. And I'm curious of who are the people that you look to? Who are the people that you inspire you in the Fortnite space? I'm very curious of those people that mean something to you.
It's Daquan, but he stopped streaming now. Unfortunately, he was my inspiration in the first days, like 2018, because he was just like me. Like he came from a poor situation, and he managed like to get out of everything. Like it's I can relate to him. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's him and Hamlin's. Hamlin's also like the same situation.
Yeah.
And like back in 2018, I had like during the day they would stream when my friends would be at school, and I would watch them. Like back then, my English was bad, but I still understood like most of the words they say. So I was like watching them and wondering how I can do it like how they did it, like how they made a place for themselves and everything. And that's where my inspiration came from in the Fortnite community. Like those two,
I love
but
that.
they stopped streaming now because of their family problems and whatnot.
Yeah. But
Dude,
you
I
get
was in the-
Hamlin's every once in a while, you know, like he pops on and everyone gets
Yeah.
really excited. But yeah,
I was
it's
in
a
the same
bummer.
boat. My introduction to Fortnite content was Daquan on
Yeah.
YouTube. And I vividly remember it was back when I was going to finishing up at my university, where I would go on the stair stepper, and this was when it was still kind of taboo to watch video games. Like, it wasn't as accepted as it is now. And like,
Yeah.
I'd pull up my iPhone and I would look around to see if anyone's like staring at me. And I pull up this clip. I'm like, okay, Daquan uploaded this clip last week, and it was him playing Fortnite. And I would watch the 25-minute clip, but I was like, someone should not be looking at me and judging me. I was still so worried about it. And then thinking back on it, like, it's almost ingrained in my system now to watch people play video games. And it Daquan was like the entry into Tim and Ninja and all these other people for me to, and it's funny when you ask people about that, they always seem to default with, hey, yeah, like I knew Ninja, I knew these people, but Daquan and Hamlin's and Myth were the three that really got me excited.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I think that's why we love them so much, and why we want them to come back to this space, because that's like the OG of the OG.
Yeah.
It's funny, the evolution of like watching things, like, because I feel like what you're saying, the embarrassment of watching people play video games. Typically, somebody who doesn't even like video games will very regularly say, "Wouldn't you rather play it?" And I hate that statement with a passion, because it's like,
You ready?
TikTok is the prime like real estate for watching people do the weirdest crap. Like, you could watch somebody 3D print a Pikachu on TikTok live for hours, because we like watching people do the things that they're passionate about. And I love that passion out of those three individuals. They really were so passionate about playing that game, and how they played it with like comedy and with engagement was unlike any, I think, streamer I've watched play Fortnite.
And I'm gonna do this to you. I'm gonna relate it to basketball. Here we go, baby.
Oh gosh.
I
warned Hypex about this.
I know, right? When you watch sports, why do you watch sports? Why do people, Hypex, why do you watch football? Squatting, why do you watch the NFL? Like, why do you watch these things? Because you watch the pros do what they do best. I've played basketball, like very competitively played. I'm not an NBA player. I watch the Portland Trailblazers because they are competitive. I watch guys stream, Fortnite because they are better than me. And I get to watch that happen. So when someone asks me, like, why are you watching video games? Don't you want to play? I'll just say, hey, why are you watching football? Don't you just want to go play? Like it's just that simple. Like these people who stream are either A, really great entertainers that you will never become, most likely, or B, incredible pros that you're just like, dude, I need to see that, like what you did on display. I need to see those like edits you do, those shots you hit, the rotations. I want to learn, I want to watch, and I think that's how you have to kind of look at it.
Yeah. It's like, Mom, quit watching people dance on TikTok. Go dance yourself. Like, whatever, Like, it's weird.
True.
Well, bringing it back to Hype here, I'd love to hear a little bit from you about the pressure involved on staying on top of everything. I feel like you, Sheena, there's so many. I feel like so many leakers out there. We've had Fire Monkey on the cast before. Like, I feel like there's this pressure involved. When I was in regular doing cheat sheets early in the game, where they transitioned to where they now have that in the game itself, which makes it a little, makes my investment in the app a little interesting. But I would get up, because for us it's like 1 a.m. It's 3 a.m. around there. I would have to get up, learn what's going on in the game, and then create a helpful guide for people that needed it. And if I didn't do that, there would be 12 other people that would copy and paste my work and post it for themselves. And so there's like early on, there was like this incredible pressure to keep up with what's going on in Fortnite. I feel like, and we've said this on the cast, that there is not a day that goes by where there isn't some sort of Fortnite news. How do you, as a leaker, like continue to keep up with what's going on, and how do you communicate that stuff as fast as possible? I can only imagine that, like, we don't have a face cam for you, but I only imagine like your phone being attached to like your hat or something, and your Twitter is just on 24/7. Like, how do you stay on the pulse of Fortnite in a day to day?
It's actually not stressful. When they announce something new every 2 days, like 3 days, it's only stressful when they do it like every day, and they do it like twice or 3 times, because my time zone helps me with this stuff, because when they announce stuff, it's usually at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. for me.
No
And
way.
I'm always, yeah, it's always at the same time. Like,
I'm moving. You give me your address, I'll be your neighbor. Like, because that sounds so nice. Dude, I have to get up at like 1 a.m. like to do this stuff. And it's taken a toll for the past 3 years. That's
yeah, so
wild.
many friends from America tell me the same thing. Dude, same thing with the updates. The updates for me are like 10 a.m. or 9 a.m.
That's
It's
crazy.
like the normal waking up time. So keeping up with this stuff every day, it's definitely hard, because I like sometimes like I just be outside and I look at the phone and I see them like announce something. I have to go back home like fast, post it, and then go back outside. It's definitely exhausting, but when they do it like every 2 or 3 days, then
Yeah.
it's normal. But the other exhausting thing about this is the DMs. The amount of DMs of people asking me, and um so they like all of them are mutuals.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm like not the type of person to ignore people's DMs.
Okay.
So yeah, it kind of makes me feel guilty, and it stressed me out like so much.
That's exhausting.
Yeah, I get so many DMs of content creators asking me about um, like what's gonna happen to their POI, or like this weapon or that weapon, or like friends DMing me about something. It's definitely definitely exhausting. That's the only big exhausting thing about this stuff, the DMs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like, so for me, I can only speak from my perspective, but you know, like on Instagram, I was the same way. When my Instagram was blowing up, I was like, oh dude, I got to respond to every single DM I get. And so I was like, I'm just going to be that guy. Every comment, everything, I'm there. And I was like, and then I blew up, and then it was like, that was a full-time job. Like if I wanted to keep that up, that was like a full-time job. There's like no way that I could do that. And so
Yeah.
I think at some point in time, which I think a lot of people don't realize, is like, if you are that way, like if you care about your community that much, like it is exhausting, because
True.
a lot of people want like that type of engagement. They get excited when somebody with a check mark next to their name like talks to them or says hello or whatever it is, right? And you know how much that means to people. But at some point in time, you have to start like not doing that. Not in the sense of because you don't care anymore, but because literally you don't have enough time in your day to do so, which I feel like is a very hard thing. And then if you amplify that, so I have like 150,000 on Instagram. If you amplify that to your numbers, which is like 1 million on Twitter, right? 1 million plus, like that's crazy. Like you can't, if you are listening to this podcast, do not DM him. You know, like that's a lot of people. And I like, good on you to try your best to make that happen. But boy, do I feel like that would be a lot to take on.
Yeah, it also makes you feel guilty if you don't respond to some DMs or like some comments. Yeah, definitely exhausting.
That's wild.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
So please DM PM.
Yeah, please don't. I will not see it.
Okay, so that's cool that your time zone really helps you out. Like I'm very envious of that. That's really cool. There's somebody on, speaking of Twitter, there's somebody on Twitter, Fortnite Chief Aiko, wanted to ask you a question about how you felt the whole inside source era. Like there was a moment in time, for those listening, where there was like insider sources that would come through and people would post on it, and the whole community would be like, is this real? Is this not real? We'd be on edge about it. But then also when it became real, people would recoil back like, remember, Tabor said this, like blah, 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 blah. but I'm curious of what your thoughts were of that season. And I feel like that season is always ever changing. Sometimes it happens more, sometimes it happens less, depending on the season. But what are your whole thoughts on like the Insider Source era?
So first of all, for the people who don't know what an inside source means, it's when someone works inside the company and shares information from the company to someone outside the company. My first time receiving like inside information was season 4, I think, before season 4, the Marvel season. Someone I know till this day sent me what's gonna happen in the season, the theme, the skins, the trailer, like not the trailer, but he described the trailer and everything about the season. So your first time getting some information like that, you're gonna get the rush to post it online or like tell someone or tell so many people. That's what I did. I went straight ahead to Twitter and I posted it, and the guy didn't have a problem with it. But then, yeah, then I realized that it's a bad idea because, like, there was so many people saying that I shouldn't have posted those things. So season 4 goes by. We go to season 5, I think. Yeah, season 5. I didn't post anything if I remember correctly, and I didn't in season 6, except for like collabs or stuff like that.
Sure.
But yeah, but then season 7. Oh, before that, one of my friends had season 6 early, like a week early, like 2 weeks early,
And he showed me everything. Season 6 early.
Yeah, the entire update, like all of it. The update, not like the theme. Yeah, the update.
Got it.
So yeah, he could launch the game and like see the cosmetics and stuff.
Wow.
But he said don't post anything because he was under. He already told Epic and they made him sign something or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then season 7, there was this person who sent me like the entire theme of the season again. He even drew me the little aliens. What were they called? The parasites.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He drew me a parasite and sent me a picture. Yeah, that's when I posted on Twitter, which weapons do you want unvaulted? Then I said personally I want the launch pads, the hunter rifle, and something else. I forgot. And no one noticed that I literally told them I was gonna get it unvaulted.
Wow.
And yeah, until like after this season, that's when I told them. Then I think I posted something, and that's when Epic DM'd me.
Okay, here we go. I was waiting for this part of the story.
Yeah,
like, so how does Epic DM you? Is it a person? Is it like the company? Is it their lawyers? Who's the person? You don't have to name their name, but like, what is their role that actually sent you the DM?
I think it was the first time. It was a person who works as a security analyst or something.
Okay,
forensic security analyst. I don't know.
Were you terrified when he DM'd you? Like, I feel like that would be kind of scary.
No, I didn't, but I felt like I felt guilty because
sure.
Yeah, because I love the people at Epic.
Yeah.
So he told me that leaking the collabs is the worst part because it hurts the company's relationship with other companies. So for example, you're Marvel and you see your skin get leaked.
Yeah.
No, let's say you're another company, you're DC, and you see Marvel's skin get leaked. You're not gonna want to like give Epic some stuff early. You know what I mean? Yep. For example, they have a movie early. They're not gonna want to give them. That's from my understanding from totally. What he said. Yeah, and I think that's when I completely stopped. If I ever posted anything after that day, I think it was just some minor stuff like that they wouldn't care about. And I actually had the theme of season 7, 8, and season 1, and this season, and I never posted anything.
That's
like,
great.
None of it.
So that evolution is like interesting to me, like, right? Like, because Epic, early on really didn't have many collaborations, right? It was just like Epic doing their own thing. Fortnite was blowing up, and then we started getting small collaborations, and those. That's funny to think back then. There were people that started leaking those things. I wonder how many people got DMs, in that season of like Epic not double downing on like encrypted stuff or not knowing how to encrypt maybe at the time
Season 4?
to where we are now, right? Was it 4?
No, maybe. I think season 4 and season 5. When no, season 4 only. I think.
Season
and
4.
and season 6. Season 5, they hit like every collab when they had like the 0 point portals.
Okay. Yeah. And then we get to a point now, right, where we're like the leaker community. Maybe you could speak to this. Feels like they're kind of shafted a little bit because Epic is kind of like double downing on that reality. Like if I'm a company or I'm like an icon, let's say Allier, and I'm doing this thing with Fortnite, and then somebody leaks it, I miss my moment, as a content creator. Or I miss my moment as like a Stranger Things collaboration. Like I don't get to celebrate or be excited about that with everybody because somebody posted online a little too early. So Can you tell me a little bit about that etiquette as a leaker? What does that look like now? Because I feel like there are a lot of leakers out there that don't care at all. And I'm curious if there's consequences for that. I wonder how Epic Games would react to that now, because I do think that you are an example of learning that as you go. Somebody had to DM you to go, oh, like that perspective is helpful. I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to be leakers, kids that want to try this out that might not have that context. So where are you at with all of this? Like what's appropriate to leak and what you feel like is not appropriate to leak? And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
So back in chapter 1, everyone used to post the event stuff. They never encrypted the event stuff. Yeah. Everyone posted the sounds, models, skins, like the location, everything, including me.
Yeah.
And the moment when I stopped was, I think, either the end event, season X, or the season 3 event, the device one, season 2 event. That's when I stopped. And there was also Ninja skin, like the skin of the icon skin of Ninja. I posted it, and after it I posted also the loser fruit skin. But the loser fruit skin wasn't me. It was someone else. I only reposted his tweet, like his image.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I seen she was crying on her stream because of the leaks. And that's when I stopped posting the icon skins too. Like so many people tell me that I posted Lachlan's skin, but I actually don't remember posting anything including related to him. I even have a DM with him where me and Sheena, where he told us thank you for not posting anything.
Yeah.
But if I did, I don't know, I was dumb at the time. My bad. So the reason why we don't post events and the icon skins, the creators ones, it's because, first of all, leaking normal cosmetics, Epic is not gonna care anymore. They don't care anymore. They can hide them if they want.
Yeah.
I think Epic's seen how benefiting leaking is on social media, because if you think about it, leaking and art is the center of Fortnite's community on social media, right?
Yeah.
Everyone comes to see either art or leaks and news. They've seen how the community is built around leaks and news and art, and they never touch those areas anymore, since chapter 1, because in chapter 1 they actually strike so many of my videos down. They took down my channel.
Interesting.
yeah, they took down my channel. I had like 500,000 subscribers because they said that I posted unreleased stuff, and then they said because I was modding skins, like I was putting custom textures on the skins.
I see.
Yeah, I actually emailed Tim Sweeney. Yeah, and he
Yes.
told yeah, I told him that it's my channel, it's my job. If you can please like remove the copyright, I'm not gonna post the custom skins again. He said, okay, I'm gonna forward this to the security team, and like a few days later, the copyright was gone.
Wow.
The reason back then why they were worrying about custom skins, because people would put like logos on skins, like Nike or Adidas, and I think it made other companies think that Epic made those skins. That makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
So they started like taking down only the custom skins with the logos, trademark logos.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the story that's the story of them taking down my channel. But then they stopped because they realized like it's actually an important thing to have in the community. The leaks, like normal cosmetics, not the big ones like the storyline ones or like the icon ones. Um, so cosmetics, weapons, gameplay changes, that's normal to them, I think. But when you cross the events stuff, the events are like something special to the devs. They work on them like months. For like, sometimes they say that they were working on the Travis Scott event for like 6 months, right?
That's wild. Yeah.
And the icon skins of YouTubers and stuff, that's a big moment for a person. Like if it was like, for example, Ariana Grande when the skin got leaked, I doubt she cared like at all about the skin getting leaked. To be honest, because
Yeah.
she probably doesn't even play the game.
Right.
So her skin getting leaked is like, I don't know, an image of her getting leaked, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because celebrity icon skins can just be put in a casual clothes, and they can be put in the shop. When the creator ones, they have like to design them. They have to give ideas like based on the creator's story, his background. You know what I mean? Is it like
Yeah. Yeah.
Ali, Lachlan, and everyone. So me and Sheena decided to stop posting events, and we made tweets like back in early chapter 2, season X, I think, or early chapter 2. We posted tweets saying we're not gonna post the event stuff, and like everyone agreed, like most of the leakers back then.
Yeah.
But but of course you're gonna have like new leakers who are not gonna agree to that, and they just kept posting event stuff and icon skins. Yeah, that's the only parts that we don't touch, like creator icon skins and the events and the collabs, like insider leaks of the collabs now, because
Yeah.
it's obviously hurts the company.
Okay, so then let me give you a scenario that I feel like I see all the time on Twitter, and I'm curious just because I feel like for whatever reason leakers don't retweet anymore. It's like they'll post a picture and then tag the person. But like, let's say a situation occurs where Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is something that's coming, and you decide not to leak it, right? Maybe it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles event. I don't know. You decide not to post it, right? And you and Sheena, you're like, nah, we're not going to do that. Then young shot child baby posts everything on it. I feel like there becomes a moment where that tweet starts to do really well, and then everybody else kind of gives in and is like, well, they posted it, so I'm going to also post it because I'm technically the news for Fortnite. Yeah. How does that work for you? Like, what is the problem with that? Or is that how it works? Or like, I'm so curious of why that happens and why people just like, even though they say I'm never going to leak these things, and then when somebody else posts it and it becomes super popular online, it seems as if people continue to follow that.
So I actually used to do the same thing, just like I told you earlier, with the loser fruit skin.
Right.
I didn't want to post it, but someone did, and I reposted his image. But then, because back then I used to think like if I don't post something everyone else posted, everyone's gonna think that I'm like I don't know how to do this anymore,
Sure.
right?
Sure. Like you're washed.
Yeah, fell off. But over the time, I realized that that's not the case. Like you can take a year break, come back, and it's gonna be the same. It's not a big it's not a sport. If that makes sense. It's not like you're um someone who like constantly doing something in a sport and then you quit and come back and you're not gonna be the same. You know what I mean? It's the same
Yeah.
process every update. So I I thought to myself like this is a bad mindset. So I stopped posting like the stuff that I don't want to post, like events and icon skins. Whenever someone would post them, like I would just ignore. Just like in the chapter 3 downtime, I literally didn't post anything except for like 2 leaks, and the leaks were very small. I didn't post anything about the update. Like literally like 2 things. There was an image and something about I forgot something about some item. That's it. Because Epic emailed us, DM'd us saying if you can like not post anything, but then they leaked the trailer accidentally, and
Oh yeah, that's
so many
right.
people thought, so many people thought that like Epic leaked the trailer. Let's just
Yeah.
post let's post everything else. But me and Sheena didn't like actually we ignored all of that. Like there was so many leaks that didn't appear in the trailer, and we ignored them because it's gonna be the same even if you don't post anything, like
Right.
even if you quit for weeks. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about that situation. Like
What are your
um
what are your fears of like DMCA on Twitter? Because Twitter seems to be like your kind of lifeblood. Like that's your like main, I guess, job is to post this stuff on Twitter. Is there any fear that you're going to leak something and that Epic will strike it as copyright content and it'll suspend your account? Are you like worried about that at all?
actually back in season X, the chapter 2 trailer was found, and
No
someone
way.
posted it. Yeah, someone posted it, and everyone started reposting it. And Epic said that they're gonna DMCA everyone who posted the video, but then like a few minutes later, they said like it's already out there, so like there's no point of
It's
DMCAing.
just
Like
there's just too much at that point.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
gone
and
too far.
they ended up and they ended up releasing the trailer on their channel. They did the same thing with the, if you remember, the season X trailer. You remember?
Yep.
Like they posted the where Peely is falling in a,
Yep.
and then they released this on YouTube. Then after like a few months, I actually had 5 DMCAs in my account,
Whoa.
like out of 6. And 6th one, your account is gone. But they were not
Wow.
from Epic except for one of them. The one from Epic was because I posted a video of me changing my V-Bucks amount, and Epic had this other company that they hired. Like the company strikes down videos of cheaters because Epic is not gonna have time to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they hired another company, and they thought that I was selling V-Bucks or something. Then I DM'd I
That's
DM'd
funny.
Epic. Yep. I DM'd someone at Epic, the same guy who told me about the collab leaks, who said that they heard the company, the security guy. I DM'd him and he was like very helpful. Him and Epic, they actually helped me like remove the copyright because they sent an email to the company, told them that it is fine. You don't have to strike him. And a few months later, like the guy gave me advice on how to like remove the MCAs, and I used the same advice on the other DMCAs, and they're gone now. Like now I only have
Whoa.
2. I only have 1 actually.
That's wild.
Yeah, so Epic is probably never gonna DMCA anyone. They're not that type of company. Sometimes
Interesting.
they do make mistakes, but they're never gonna be like this evil. That makes sense.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, I feel like that,
Yeah.
like, even as from a content creator standpoint, like, I remember whenever that, like, a concert would happen, we would get an email ahead of time, like, hey, if you want to put this on your YouTube, this is how you'll do it. If you have a window of like when you can post this and when it's okay and when you will not get struck, and if you are in that window, you're fine. And it's like very fascinating, and I'm sure the bigger they get and the more brands they work with, it's got to be more and more complex. Like, I can't imagine that it's going to be like what you've experienced for the rest of their go about, you know, now that they have like so many TikTok deals, so many like music brands. Like, there's got to be like some sort of hardship for content creation in that. And I hope that they have a plan for essentially like finding a middle ground on behalf of like hype, you know, like hype itself, because content at least in Fortnite, how we create hype is like you're a vital ingredient in this, right? Like, you kind of get people excited about the idea of what's to come. People get pumped, people get ready to play, people play, create content that way. And so Epic's got a well-oiled machine in terms of like content creators finding a role, finding something that they're excited about, and then pushing that out. And then you bring in other brands that are like movies or music or whatever that like are used to their way. And I hope that Epic, and it seems like Epic is doing a good job of kind of translating the different worlds to find some compromises. And so,
but sometimes,
go ahead.
Sometimes it's not even them who gets mad. Like back in season 1, like Epic themselves said on Discord that if you leak something, it's not gonna be them who DMCA. It's gonna be who made the Star Wars stuff?
LucasArts, Disney.
Yeah. Disney does not play around. They will. They will come after you.
Yeah, they said if someone leaks something about the event, it's gonna be DMCA from Disney because they're very strict about their stuff. And they actually like they never DMCA for anything. Like if they want you to stop, they're gonna DM you, because they always say this guy that I talked about, he always says that it's if something leaks, it's mostly Epic's fault. So there is no reason to DMCA someone unless if he's not a part of the community. That makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Like
interesting.
Like yeah, but if you're a part of the community, they can just DM you or email you or anything.
Yeah, especially if you're like been a part. Like, I feel like at this point in time, if you've been doing it for as long as we have, like we have a relationship in some capacity with somebody at Epic, and like there's some ability to like there's context. It's like they have context for all of the things that you've done to make something work out for them. They're aware of those things, right? Like, and so that stuff builds trust over time. And I kind of like that even though Epic is so big, that they're still approachable. I really do like that about them. Like, honestly, it's like it's backwards in what is normal, I would say. It's really, really cool.
They have some of the like the best employees, but sometimes like they make mistakes. Probably not the employees. It's definitely not them. It's most likely the people who like give the orders and stuff. You know what I mean? Like the higher ups.
Well, yeah,
like,
and I'm sure lawyers are probably really intense, and so there's probably a guy that translates what the lawyers need to the person, rather than a lawyer come knocking like, shut it down. Or like, oh God, sorry. Well, hi. This is honestly like I love this conversation. You are such an awesome person to have on this podcast. I have kind of like a wrap up question for you. What do you think the future of Fortnite looks like? You have painstakingly watched the year after year, files after files. You have seen kind of the evolution of this game. What, from your standpoint, from kind of disseminating all of the information over this time, where do you think Fortnite is going? What direction do you see pretty clearly from your perspective?
I think it's going in a great path. If if the creative 2.0 is the thing that they talk about. Like you can do whatever you want. You can make like games like better than the current creative. That's gonna make the game like expand to more people, just like Roblox and Minecraft, where you can make your own modded games and stuff like that. Um, Another thing is they kind of lose grip on a big chunk of the community every season, and it's always because of the same. It's always because of the same reason.
Yeah.
They pump out a lot of content. Like their content stream is insane, but it's always like missing new ideas.
Yeah.
Like compare when there is an update with new content that we're used to, like a PY or something, to when there is a new idea. Like when there's a new idea, like it's so much bigger. Like everyone talks about it. For example, when they did no build,
Yep.
like it's never been done before. Like it's not like they did no build a while ago and they removed it and they need to start doing new ideas that are gonna bring back or like bring new people to the game. For example, so many people that I know are they don't like the idea of the battle pass anymore. They need something else to grind because the battle pass has been repeated in every game for the past 4 years. They need to also they need to start putting in weapons that like mythics that are not just existing weapons but with increased stats. They need to start
Right.
making like interesting mythics that have abilities or stuff. And yeah, other than that, it's going great. They just need like so many new ideas. That's it. Instead of so much new content. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think I think you're spot on. I think and they know these things. I believe. Like I feel like they're aware. We see those changes, small changes as they go. But I agree. Like it almost seems like every season needs a new idea. Every 2 weeks, or every 4 weeks needs a new POI. To keep fresh looks going on. But yeah, that's huge. Hypex, is there anything else that you'd like to say to those listening today, like as kind of your sign off, or anything that you would like to share to our listeners for being on the podcast?
Thank you all for the support. Thanks to everyone who supports me on Twitter. Like even through the days where I mess up, like, there's some days where I tweet some stuff, and so many people are not gonna like it. Like I appreciate everyone so much because my life changed like so much. It's completely different from 2016 to now, and the person that I am in real life, it's completely different from social media. So hopefully one day I find time for streams and stuff like that, so I can get people to know me even more. And yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks to PM for having me,
dude. Of
appreciate
course.
y'all.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Of course, man. I feel like the reason why I love podcasting so much is like you get to unveil new parts of people. I think there's a lot of assumption on social media of how people are at, what they look like, what they do, all these things. And I was very strategic with Squatingdog to put my face as the icon instead of the logo, because everyone thought I was a company. Like I was some sort of company that did like this as their like, and it became this weird thing where it was like, no, I'm a person. Every person behind their accounts are just people, that have lives, that have things that are going on with their life, whether that be good or bad or whatever. And I feel like to ground people is really helpful. And so I love this type of format because I get to know you, behind the banner of Hypex, right? Like the person that, is in a completely different time zone that I'm jealous of. And I think that is like such a huge, cool thing. And so thank you for taking the time to be vulnerable, to share, and to have people get to know you a little bit more because of this. You are awesome.
Anytime, man. Thank you. You too.
All right. Well, thanks again, Hypex, for being on Chapter 3, Season 2 of the Unvaulted Fortnite podcast. And of course, a special thank you to everyone who is listening right now. Feel free to connect with us on Twitter at UnvaultedPod or the Squatting Dog. Or, of course, you can connect with, but don't DM him. No, I'm just kidding. Hypex on Twitter as well. He also has a massive YouTube. So if you're looking for anything cosmetic wise or anything new, he updates that very regularly. Every 2 weeks, there's new content. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Until next time, I'm Squatting Dog. We'll see you later, nerds.